Yeah, sure, I gotta go get plowed by strangers. Yeah. Mommy's working. I'm an adult tutor. When Cole went outside and tried to play with the kids, of course they started, they asked him what his name was, and they started horribly, mercilessly just making fun of him, because his name's fucking Carroll. When one of the kids started beating him up, Cole fled back to the apartment where his mother berated him for, quote, ruining her night. Vesta then continued beating Cole before dragging him out of the building and taking him home. Later, Vesta beat him a little more, this time more severely because you're at home and away from people.
Yeah, now nobody's watching.
And she threatened that if Cole ever told his father what he had seen, she'd really fucking give it to him. Like, this is just the pre-show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You tell your father and I will fucking destroy you, you little 7-year-old shit.
Good parenting.
This continued for multiple years while Laverne was in the service, and Cole later claimed his mother entertained soldiers on a few of these occasions.
Probably.
And that on at least one of these occasions, a soldier beat him after having his fun with.
Yeah, I mean, you're a prop now, kid.
Yeah, right? And honestly, if this is all true, which we'll see, this guy has some issues. But if this is all true, there's no question that he was probably molested too.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Yeah. Because if she's entertaining soldiers and dudes and they're just coming out and one of them beat him, I'm sure there was someone else who fucked with him.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the way.
It's pretty fun common.
Well, you're just throwing your kid into the fucking wolf's den with this fucking behavior.
Anyone with that predilection has the perfect chance right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Not me. I'm like, why the fuck is this child doing here?
What is this?
It's looking at me. I can tell it's sticky. Children are always sticky.
Ugh. That's why I wear a tarp around them. Like grimy paws off me.
Yeah, seriously.
We don't do babies.
Isn't let them claw their horrible
monstrous way out of our vagina?
Yeah, I know, I agree with that.
Yeah, none of that.
There is some debate if this abuse actually happened, as Cole had 2 siblings, and they claimed they were never abused, and they never saw any of this type of abuse. So that makes it a little questionable.
Yeah.
Why would she specifically take Carroll along with her while leaving the other 2 kids just in order to later beat him?
Also, what are the ages?
I think they're relatively close.
Because, like, if they were much older, it would make sense for them to be left home. But they could also look after their younger sibling in that case. So that was my reason.
Yeah, fair enough.
Still, it would be weird if there was no abuse to them, and Right.
And then again, I mean, kids also either forget or don't want to remember or whatever. So who really knows? But honestly, we'll get into Cole has his moments where he plays with the truth, and we'll talk about that. So despite what the kids say, Vesta's sister looked for her name, could not find it, but this would be Cole's aunt, once witnessed Vesta beating and berating Cole, and she said the attack was so severe that she intervened. Remember, this is in the 40s.
Yeah, it's gotta be pretty bad.
Beating the absolute shit out of your kid? No problem. You can do that in a theater, and it's like, well, what did the kid do?
Yeah, right.
What did the little bastard do to set you off? So her sister was like, hey, whoa, what are you doing to that fucking kid? In the 40s. So that must have been a pretty severe beating and berating.
Right.
So, there's evidence on both sides. And this highlights one of the most infuriating things about this story. Trying to figure out what parts of Cole's story to believe, which are embellishments, and what are the straight up lies. And this applies to his mental condition, as it's impossible to tell if he's a cold-blooded killer that knew how to manipulate people and had no real issues, or a highly intelligent but violently broken person, or something in between.
Yeah, right.
It's so hard to tell with this guy. He's infuriating.
The time frame doesn't help.
Wait, how so?
Records and everything, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough, too. Plus the psychiatry at the time. But we'll see, too. There are 2 reports in here by psychiatrists that in the same report, if I'm reading them right, they say completely contradictory things in the same fucking report. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Are you the fucking Bible? Whatever you want to read into it, that's what it says. Jesus Christ. On top of all this, Cole also claimed that Vesta forced him to dress in frilly skirts for her amusement. And
we named you Carroll, so...
Yeah, right? And she even forced him to serve her friends tea and coffee dressed as, quote, Mama's little girl. Now, this came from a pretty sketchy source, but, I mean, it's a claim that I've seen a couple times. Not the best sources, but, you know, it could be true.
Yeah, it could be.
You dressed me in pretty dresses, Mom. What do you expect to happen?
Right.
Now I'm pregnant. Spent a night at the frat house, and here I am knocked up.
What a dream.
Nightmares are dreams, too.
Yeah.
Cole didn't start school until 1945 when he was 6 or 7 years old, which is fucking weird. But once again, this is the 40s, so...
That's really, yeah.
I feel like the government was less concerned if your kid didn't show up at 5 for primary school. Or I guess in the States it would be kindergarten. Whereas nowadays it'd be like, you have a kid, it's on record. Like you were saying about records, right?
Yeah.
Like, this kid's on record, we know. Where the fuck is he? Where this is the 40s. Unless you're specifically look, where the fuck is this Carroll Cole kid?
Right.
Yeah, you probably don't even
It's one thing if they've been registered and don't come back.
Yeah.
It's another if you've never hooked them up in the first place to the system.
That too, right? He might be off grid at this point.
Right?
Yeah, and plus...
We don't know if he was born in a hospital. Like, fuck, man.
It was Sioux City, fucking Iowa.
Yeah, maybe have shit him out of the bathtub.
Cornfield.
Yeah.
It's tradition.
Floop.
Got
another one.
You stick a corn cob up after to stop the bleeding, and you're good to go. You're good to work on the fields for the day, lady. My wife disagrees.
Yeah, faces don't translate to microphones, but wow.
It was a good face.
Whew, the corn cob got me.
Yeah. Rocktario, I can fix your uterus sticking out of you, yeah.
No.
I punch it back into your body.
No.
I pull it out. Yeah, any of that, stop it.
Yeah.
Carroll Cole started school at either 6 or 7, and at 7 years of age, this was a big year for him. Because as we've already seen, this is when his mother starts taking him to watch her cheat on his father. Right. And then he starts school. Also around 7, and this is where it gets fucky too, because it says around 7, that's when Cole's father came home from war. So how long
that doesn't make sense.
Right, so we're getting into that again.
Yeah, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's born in 38, so if he's 7, it's 45.
Right.
Right, so yeah, I don't really understand.
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Which also leads me to think that whole story...
Probably
didn't
bullshit.
fucking happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the problem of Carroll Cole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck.
So it was also during this year that Cole started fantasizing about killing his mother. And his fantasies would just get worse and more violent as he got older. Probably not coincidentally, Cole showed one of the most classic signs that someone is going to be a huge asshole as an adult when he killed the family pet.
Yeah, that's a big sign.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Cole claimed he strangled the family dog while he was, quote, blacked out, and that he had no memory of the event afterwards. I just blacked out and the dog was dead, and I guess I strangled it. And completely contrary to his claims of abuse at the hands of Vesta, Cole claimed that he received no punishment for doing this. So if Vesta is this crazed bitch who's all out cheating and whatnot, beating him for nothing, if he strangles the family dog, I would expect her to have some kind of reaction.
Right?
Yeah.
Not nothing.
Yeah. But apparently,
whatever.
Don't worry about it. I'll also point out that's an inappropriate sentence number 1. Because we're going to keep account of inappropriate sentences for this guy. I mean, I know it's not a court of law and whatnot, but you killed the family dog and your mother was just like...
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we don't need to get you to a doctor or anything.
Yeah, that I consider that an appropriate sentence.
Right?
Yeah. And a gigantic red flag.
No. It's fine. It's fine.
Also, while he was still 7 years old, Cole claimed he was sexually assaulted. A neighbor boy and a friend of his brother's trapped him in a bathroom, And although Cole said there was no actual contact between them, he said the two older boys taught him how to masturbate. Which, it doesn't matter if they touched you or not.
That's creepy.
You were sexually assaulted by two older boys.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, that's fucking sexual assault at the hands of two older boys. Absolutely.
Ick.
God, crime in sports when they make fun of Michael Jackson. I don't want to touch you. I just want to look at your butthole and touch myself. Yeah, no, that's sexual assault. Absolutely. So anyway, yeah, two older boys
don't like it.
Taught him how to tug it.
Blech.
Perhaps related to this incident, Cole later claimed he was a chronic masturbator by the time he was 7. He coupled this habit with violent fantasies, so Cole was already on a really good path.
Spiderwebbing all over the house.
Yeah. He's having violent fantasies as he's masturbating at the age of 7. Plus, he already said he's having fantasies about killing his mother, so he's probably thinking about killing fucking Vesta and just tugging it furiously.
This is a brilliant start.
Like a caged monkey with nothing else to do.
Yeah, how do you want to raise that kid?
So it's really hard to tell.
It really makes me want to have a baby.
It doesn't. No. Well, first we wouldn't name him Carroll.
No, and we wouldn't abuse the fuck out of him, and he wouldn't take him to a fucking orgy and shit, but...
I'd be worried, would he strangle the dog or start masturbating at 7?
Yeah, well, I would have some questions.
What's up? Hey, Carroll.
Yeah.
What you drawing there?
Right? What's going on?
So it's really hard to tell how much he was fucked up before, how much this fucked him up, and, once again, this follows for the rest of his life.
A fucky timeline.
It is, and he also claims that this time he went to after-school classes, like at a Catholic church, and that the nuns beat him and whatnot, which I'm sure they did. If he did go to that, and they were nuns, they kicked the shit out of him, because that's what nuns do.
There's a reason for the stereotype.
So like we mentioned, when Laverne came back from the war, Vesta's abuse of Cole stopped, but she did keep threatening him, if you tell Dad what I did, I will fucking kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Probably because of this, all of this, I'm not saying just from that, but all of this put together made Cole's behavior, it just got worse as he got older, and this manifested in 2 violent attacks when he was still just 7 years old.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. 7 and 8, respectively. Yeah.
Wow.
The first one, when he was 7, he sexually assaulted and tried to rape a young girl that was a friend of the family. Once again, he got no punishment whatsoever. In the summer of 1946, at the age of 8, Cole crossed another line when he killed his first person by drowning a schoolmate that constantly made fun of his name. Who's the girl now?
Jesus Christ.
Cole lured this kid, known only as Dwayne, to a deserted part of a local swimming hole, and once there, Cole started drowning him. Basically, Dwayne got in the water, and Cole waited for him to get in, and then he wrapped his legs around Dwayne's neck and drove Dwayne's head under the water. Now, Cole's a kid, so he kind of didn't estimate how much he would fight back, like Dwayne would fight back.
Right.
So actually, he had to grab a nearby log that was over his head and use it basically as leverage to keep Dwayne's head underwater until he stopped fighting. Yeah. Which to me, there's a difference between a kid who doesn't really know and they start to do something and then their victim fights back and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Compared to a kid who doubles down and is like, how can I get fucking leverage to kill this kid? Like, he's fighting back.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He fights back and I want to fight harder.
Yeah.
I like when they don't like it. When he was sure Dwayne was dead, Cole released his grip and, quote, when I let go, he sank. Which I found interesting because I always thought bodies float.
Not initially.
I'm learning. That's later when they're all bloaty.
Yeah.
We got a bloated...
2 or 3 days later, depending on temperatures, usually.
And that's when you have a bloated floater.
Start to fill up with gases, yeah.
You go to grab them, the skin just sloughs off in your hand. And
I mean, some people float initially